Hi, I'm Alicia and welcome to my channel Papercraft Secrets. Today I'm sharing a set of 6 Christmas cards made using Mintay's Merry Little Christmas. This kit is available on my website at www.papercraftsecrets.com.au. Today we are making double gatefold cards. They open out at the front, and this is the section where you would write your message, and then they fold back together like that. Then that's the back of the cards. They have a wreath on the front and a wooden sentiment. I originally made these cards for a Mintay Facebook Live, but I had to alter them slightly for the kit because I couldn't get the exact products that I needed. So this is a take on the Mintay Live double gatefold card using Merry Little Christmas. And these cards do fit into a standard envelope so that you can post them in the mail. I know lots of people like to post cards at Christmas time, and so this card is designed to fit into a standard envelope. So it is a little tiny bit of a squeeze to get the card into the envelope, but it does fit quite snugly. You just have to sort of ease it in, and then in it goes. And then you can seal that up and post that in the mail to family and friends. And then it just slides out like that. So this is the card that we're making today. I'm going to demonstrate these 2 cards, but in the kit you will have enough to make 6 of these cards. And you could also make more if you added some extra cardstock from your stash at home and some different sentiments. So in your kit you will find the instructions that you can use to create your cards. There's 2 pages of instructions. You'll also have a Merry Little Christmas 6x8 paper pad, and you'll have 6 Bloomer wooden Christmas sentiments in a variety of designs for the sentiments. To begin with, you need to cut your 12x12 white cardstock to measuring 6x10 inches. You will have 3 pieces of white cardstock in your kit, but you can add more to that and create more cards if you wish. Our first cut is at 10 inches, and we will be not needing that scrap. So we now have a 12x10 inch piece of cardstock. Turn your paper, and now we're going to cut it 6 inches. So this creates 2 6x10 inch rectangles. Our next step now is to do our score lines. We're scoring at 1, 3, 7 and 9 inches on our long side. So take your scoreboard, place your cardstock with the longest side at the top, follow our instructions, and we're scoring at 1 inch, 3 inches, 7 inches, and 9 inches. 1, 3, 7, and 9. Repeat the same for the second piece. 1, 3, 7, and 9. In this video, I'm only making 2 cards, but your kit will have enough to make 6 cards. It's up to you if you want to make all 6 together or make 2 at a time. Next step is to fold a mountain fold at 1 inch, a valley at 3, a valley at 7, and a mountain at 9. So the first fold is mountain, the second fold is valley, the third fold is valley, and the fourth fold is mountain. So when it opens up, it looks like this diagram here: mountain, valley, valley, mountain. Let's do that again. Mountain, valley, valley, mountain. When we open it up, it looks the same as the diagram. Mountain, valley, valley, mountain. Okay, very good. Let's move on to our second page. Choose 2 pieces of paper, a plain and a pattern piece. That's the pattern and that's the plain. The plain needs to be able to be written on. That's why we want it plain enough so you can write your Christmas message on the inside of your card. You can choose any papers that you like. I'm going to choose my patterned piece first. I'm going to use my favorite, that red one. I'm going to use this one for my second card. So I'm choosing 2 patterned pieces because I'm making 2 cards, and I'm choosing 2 plain pieces. I'm going to choose that wooden one and I will find another one there. 2 patterned, 2 plain for 2 cards. We're going to be cutting with our patterned and our plain pieces next. We will be using the 7/8 mark on an inch today. Here it is here. 1/4, 1/2, 3/4, and the 7/8 is between the 3/4 and the 1. So that's what we're going to be using today, and I've included that in your instructions if you're not familiar with 7/8. So let's have a try. So take our patterned papers. We're going to first of all trim down the bottom at 5 and 7/8. So line your piece of paper up and take your trim, and as you'll see, we just have a very small scrap. Line it up, trim it at 5 and 7/8 and a small scrap. Turn your paper. This time we're going to cut at 3 and 7/8. Then we are cutting at 1 and 7/8 and 1 and 7/8. There will be a very small scrap that we don't need. Alright, so this is what you are left with. We're going to repeat that process with our other piece of cardstock, or paper I should say, 3 and 7/8, 1 and 7/8, 1 and 7/8. Okay, so there's our pieces that we need to make our cards. Now we're going to do exactly the same thing to our plainer pieces. First of all, cutting them at 5 and 7/8 and removing that small slither of paper. Second of all, we're going to move the paper around, cutting at 3 and 7/8, 1 and 7/8, and 1 and 7/8. Repeating that process, 3 and 7/8, 1 and 7/8, and 1 and 7/8. Well done. If you managed to do that, you've done the hardest part of all, so well done. Now, we're going to glue that, what we've cut so far, onto our cards so we can start to see them take shape. This is my plain piece and this is my other plain piece. This is where I will write my Christmas message. Now you may like to keep it the same, or you may like to turn the sides over and have a contrast. Completely up to you. I'm going to keep mine the same. Take your glue and add some glue to the back of the largest piece of plain paper, and then we will paste that in the center of the inside of our card. You will have a small white border all the way around. Do the same for the side panels. Remember, choose whether you want the same paper or contrast paper. That's a personal preference. And glue down the other side. That's the inside section of the card all glued down now. Now we're going to do this other card, so it followed exactly the same process. And glue down that middle piece. That's the part where we'll do the writing for our card. And then the two side pieces. So that is the inside of the card completed. And now we will move on to the outside of the card. So turn your card over and we're going to glue in exactly the same way the busy paper onto the outside of the card. The large panel first, and then the smaller panels second. And then repeat that process on the second card. Remember, you can, if you want to, alternate those papers and have a contrast if you choose, or you can leave them the same. It's up to you. Looking really good. Our next step now is to choose another piece of paper. Now this paper you can use for both cards if you wish. I've picked this soft blue jumper. I'm going to cut first at 5 7/8 on the bottom, just as the same as we did before, and then we're cutting at 7/8. So first of all at 5 7/8, just taking off that little slither, and then turning your paper and cutting at 7/8. You're going to need 4 per card, so because I'm doing 2 cards, I'm going to need 8 of these. There's my first 4, and then I'll cut another 4. You can use a different piece of paper and have different paper if you like. And that's a scrap. All right, move your cutting board out of the way and we're back to gluing again now. It's up to you what side you would like, whether you want the blue side, whether you want the pink side. You could use the same for both cards. You could use different. It depends on what you prefer. I'm going to go with the pink. It's like a sort of a soft pink woolen side. Although it really is very difficult to choose. So we're gluing that on the front little section there, and we'll also glue it on the underside of those pieces there. Okay, so we'll put one piece here. And then the other piece underneath it. Looking good. And now the second card. Two little bits at the front. and then the 2 underneath. I just had a little bit of glue that I needed to wipe off there. Let's refer back to our instructions. Number 7, we're up to fussy cutting. This is the page that we're going to fussy cut today. Put our cards to the side. I like to begin my fussy cutting by just roughly cutting out all of the images first so that they're separated from the other images on the page. This is optional, but I find that it helps a little bit when you are trying to manipulate the paper around in a circle when you're trying to cut. There's also some little berries and some single poinsettia flowers, and we have a corner bouquet of poinsettia flowers. So I've just cut all of those into their separate pieces. And I'll just show you how I fussy cut the wreath out. One hand holds the scissors, usually rest that elbow on the table, and the other hand does the turning of the paper. Your scissors need to be fairly small and sharp for best results with fussy cutting. And I like to leave a little white edge all the way around the image. Not everybody likes to have that little white edge. Some people prefer to cut directly on the edge of the drawing. The little white edge is a little bit easier, but it's completely up to you. And then you just continue working your way around the outside of the wreath. We don't need to cut out the inside. We need that to be white. So that's quite easy. It's just an outside cut today. You might like to pause the video and do all of your cutting for all of your cards. You can cut out the poinsettia flower as well, and if you want to use those little berries, you can use those. And also I'm using the corner bouquet as well. Alright, so we're up to gluing now. You only want to put glue on one side of your wreath, and when you open it you want to make sure that the writing on the underside is facing the right way and horizontal. So position it and then check that your writing is horizontal on the inside so it doesn't look a bit silly. There's our 2 wreaths. We're going to add some poinsettia flowers to the bottom of our wreaths. Then you can take your chipboard and you can choose which sentiment you'd like to use. I'm going to choose Christmas greetings and Happy Christmas for these 2. Just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of glue on the back of your sentiment because you don't want glue sort of getting everywhere on your card. Position it so it's the one letter is on the wreath and the bottom letter is on the wreath. So it's sort of in the middle of the wreath as best you can, not hanging off on one side. It is optional. You can use a 3-dimensional sticky dot on the back of your poinsettia flowers if you want to. Just be aware that it does make the card slightly bulkier and you may prefer to just glue that on instead. Up to you with that one. And if you want to, you could add some berries in the corner or in the other, on the other diagonal. That's an option as well. Then when you open your card, you can position this little corner bouquet in any way. Just going to decorate your card and bring the design into the inside of the card. So I'm going to do one at the top and one at the bottom. And there's our card. They're so pretty, but they're so easy to make. Now, if you wanted to, you could decorate envelopes to post your card in, because you get more, there's more images in your 6x8 paper pad that you can cut out and decorate on your envelopes, and you can line them with paper if you would like. I'll just show you how that they can fit into a standard envelope which is suitable for postage. There we go. So these cards are perfect for sending in the mail. And if you wanted to decorate your envelope, you could. I'll show you how to do it. So take a blank envelope, just a standard envelope. Choose a piece of paper from your paper pad. If you didn't want to use up your Mintay papers, you could raid your stash for a coordinating old piece of paper that you'd like to get rid of, because this is a great way to bust your stash. You want to move it up a little bit so that you're not going to have it hanging down too far. Line the edges up with that little corner of the envelope, and then just simply cut around the envelope shape. You can draw it in pencil and then cut it if you would prefer. And then this part here just slips into the envelope and becomes an envelope liner. You just need to add a little bit of glue all the way around, and then you need to carefully insert it into the envelope. Try not to get glue everywhere, and position it in its right spot. Now you will need to fold your envelope, but I recommend you don't fold it until your glue and paper has dried. I folded mine early because of the video, and it just was much more difficult than if you wait until it's dry, and then you won't upset the envelope at all. So best to wait till it's dry, and then when it's dry, then you can give it a fold and you've got your envelope liner inside. And then if you want to, you could decorate the front. Like maybe you might want to use one of these cute little gingerbread girls. You can fussy cut her out and then glue her onto your envelope. And there we have our envelope all decorated. So that's quick and easy, but just adds a nice finishing touch to your Christmas cards. Makes them that extra little bit special. So that brings us to the conclusion of our class today, where we've made 2 double gatefold cards with a Christmas theme, and these are perfect for sending in the mail to family or friends. I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope that you give it a try. If you are after a kit with all of the materials that you will need, please visit my website at www.papercraftsecrets.com.au. If you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a lovely crafty day.